What's going on, everybody? It's the Old Weeb, and today we're going to do a very interesting video for, it's November, but also on the internet, it's called No Nut November. And in the beginning of this month of all things, I come to learn that a favorite of the internet from years past has returned, in Belle Delphine. Now, I don't know how long you may have been on the internet, but she was a force to be reckoned with a couple years ago. She's infamous for, of course, that she was selling her bath water to her fans and to her people, and this made over $90,000 from what the numbers showcase. I could be wrong, and funny enough, she didn't even get all that money according to her own accounts. But we're not going to be just focusing on Belle Delphine. We're going to be focusing on Amouranth, another one this Corin Kappa, maybe someone may have heard of Cherry Crush, and of course Lyra Crow. And the thing about all these women is that they are notorious for being on a alternative website, but also the sheer amount of money they are making from these sites when it comes to what I've called the Gooner Economy. And I think we should really talk about just how much untapped potential is in this. Let's get into it. Now, in relation to this, Belle Delphine, Amouranth, and Corin Kappa net worth combined is over $70 million. Belle Delphine, according to net worth of celebrities, currently says she's worth about $20 million. Amouranth is $25 million, and Corin is $30 million. And the question is, what are they doing to get this level of money? And it turns out, it's not a lot. It's being attractive and putting themselves out there. And the way I look at it is, I'm not mad at it. I think it's a fantastic way to market oneself in the prime of your living career. But of course, a lot of people have their opinions about whether or not what they're doing is either hard work or if it's easy to just be pretty and make money. And I would say that kind of undermines so much effort it takes to put into this kind of work and industry. I mean, Amouranth has gone on multiple YouTube channels, podcasts, explaining her daily life, how much hours she puts into it, when it comes to regimen, diet, work, etc. And people, of course, being access to her life almost 10 plus hours a day. This is not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like we're focusing way too much on what the women are doing, but we need to look at the men and some women who are supplying this level of money. Because Amouranth has come out, I think it was either last year or earlier this year, and has showcased that per month she is making $1.5 million on her alternative website. Now, with research purposes, we looked into the numbers of what that membership requires on a monthly basis in comparison to like a bundle. And monthly basis, it's about $20-something. So I want y'all to do the quick maths of how many people it would take in order to make $1.5 million a month if, let's say, best case scenario, they're only paying $20. If you're done, you should realize that this is about 75,000 people. And of course, this doesn't factor in tips or purchases made from various options and opportunities. I've done a little bit of research here, and the sheer volume of people required just to maintain this is kind of absurd. I mean, 75,000 people is a small town, if not slightly bigger than, all supplying one person with enough income to make $1.5 million a month. And I want you to think about why this is not a bad thing in relation to the women, but this is a crazy thing in relation to the people supplying this. What are you doing with your everyday life that 75,000 people could provide enough for one person to be a millionaire every month? Because if you relation to everyone's jobs, money, etc., and what you could be putting toward any given hobby, goal, whatever one's life is focusing on, people are putting at least maybe a tenth, a fifth, or whatever toward a individual person purely on the ability to have access to videos and maybe the ability to talk to this person. And I think that's kind of sad in relation to what are we doing to foster community and friendships. Because the whole purpose, I think, of being online in a positive way, yes, there are some negatives with, being terminally online and being part of Twitter. But I think that we could have so many better opportunities to grow as people if we're putting this money toward communities as far as instead of people. Because if I could spend $1.5 million a month, but could form focus groups, community centers, whatever might be in my local area, I think that'd be way more beneficial than simply giving this money to a single person for being pretty. And again, this is not an attack on any of these women. I respect the hustle. I respect the game. Do what you gotta do. And if it's making you a millionaire, how can I fault them? They're not doing anything wrong. If you want to give a moral argument, which I think is a pointless stance, because it is not about whether you are willing to do it, it is the fact that they are willing to do it, and it's making them money. And don't even forget that the Gooner economy doesn't even just stop at real people. Look at the evolution of gacha games with, of course, Honkai Star Rail, Honkai Third Impact, Outer Plane, and of course the latest one, Zeno Zone Zero, which all play into the same level of the Gooner economy. People like looking at hot women, even if they're not real, but it's still something that gives them dopamine, serotonin, all other chemicals that involve happiness and arousal, and people want to buy into that. Just looking at a character can get them really going, and as someone who doesn't partake in that, I always find it a little odd and fascinating, but I do enjoy looking at certain characters. I mean, I've clearly made videos talking about this. And the way I look at it is that we should be fostering this economy and start driving it toward other things. I mean, the classic phrase is sex sells, and clearly it does. So why aren't we utilizing this to our full extent? You see all these companies and be it the beer, video games, movies, etc., and they try to go through all these weird rigmaroles and gymnastics of how to get their name, their brand, their ideas out there, when really all you gotta do is tap into the Gooner economy. Now, could you say we're objectifying women? Yes, we are. But I think it's more effective they choose how to be objectified. Because I don't know if you guys saw the Barbie movie this year, but this kind of highlighted the control versus not control of objectification, because when it was Barbies being objectified compared to when the Kens were being objectified, either way objectification was viewed as a negative, but I think it was more of an issue of power and the power of choice. Because if you could be objectified but make money off of it, and I mean make good money off of it, would you do it? Genuinely speaking, if you could be in their position and make millions per month, and all you had to do was be objectified through your own choice, would you do it? And I think majority of people, especially with the current state of the economy and no telling what's going to happen post-election, a lot of people would do it. And to those who say they wouldn't, I commend you. That is a moral stance that you will not pass, and I respect that. I have moral stances on things I won't pass. I would rather be vilified and hated than be a hypocrite. That's my moral standing. But when it comes down to this, I'm going to play the game and use every kind of tool, asset, cheat, etc. to make sure that my living situation is better than others. And that's just kind of how the capitalist way works. Why are people mad at this? We should be utilizing this. And this is not a recent thing. This has been around for decades. The Gooner economy is the backbone of a lot of media. The fact of the matter is, attractive women always sell any kind of product. It's just now these women are making themselves the product. And one of the things I want to touch into the last bits of this is, if you look into what currently Belle Delphine and Amouranth are up to, Belle Delphine is marketing dolls designed in her image for activities you would like to do with her if ever given the possibility, that come with a coffin to house them in, as well as worn undergarments by her herself. This sounds like a crazy business proposition, like something you can in the game Snake Oil. But you and I both know there's going to be a good collection of people who are going to buy this purely for the meanings behind it and also because they want to goon. And then there's Amouranth's latest thing where her new alcohol has a choice of things to put into it if you look into your own research. And given the fact that Belle Delphine's history with the bathwater, Amouranth tries something similar in different regards, even though you might think it's kind of disgusting, it's going to sell. It's going to make money. And again, this comes down to don't hate the player, hate the game. But instead of hate the game, why don't we play the game? Do you realize how much money could be made into any possible idea or design if you tap into the Gooner Economy? The Gooner Economy is what's powering so many things right now. Do you know the current net worth of Hoyo, the people who made Honkai Star Rail and all those gacha games? Let's look into it real quick. As of April 2024, it says that MiHoYo, the developer of Genshin and all those games, has a net worth of $23 billion. Billion, with a revenue as of 2022 of $3.7 billion. I can only imagine how much money they make per month. In fact, let's look into that. How much money does MiHoYo make per month? According to this, it says per month they have a monthly revenue between $180 to $200 million, and that's just from Honkai Star Rail. Do you see what I'm seeing? We should be doing this. Whatever your project is, whatever your ambitions are, tap into the Gooner Economy. You will not be disappointed. So I want to end this video off not saying that this is a problem. I'm saying this is a potential solution to many other problems. And shout out to these women for utilizing the game instead of complaining about it. GG's.